Hi, we're Nicoleta,
and Kath,
your hosts of Work in Progress.
the podcast for surviving solopreneurs.
Join us to recharge and unwind
and laugh at our flaws while we shed some light on our solopreneur journeys.
Today we will dive into the topic of why we got into freelancing. Hi Kat! Today we're talking about why we started with freelancing in the first place, and I really want to know, and probably our listeners as well, 4 of them, why did you start freelancing?
Thanks, Nicoleta. No, I think it's a really interesting topic because everyone starts for different reasons. We have different motivations. So for me, I think I've always wanted to work for myself. Even when I was young, I had this image of my head of like me running my own business and stuff like that. Of course, back in the time, it was like me wearing a suit, having a big office and stuff like that. Those are not my goals anymore. But it's interesting to think that like even when I was young, that's kind of what I wanted. I think a part of it is also that I'm like a little bit stubborn and I don't like when people are like telling me what to do, like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do this now. And I think I see you scratching your head. Yeah. Even with like jobs that I've had when, there's like, KPIs we have to hit and stuff like this. And someone says, let's do this. We just have to do it. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing some work if it's illogical. Or I don't know, all of these things when like you have to go to meetings or you have to just stuff in like regular jobs that doesn't make sense. Or like you have to work from 9 to 5, even if you've done all your work. I'm like, why would you do this?
Basically, not being involved in the decisions, but just executing without being involved in the process, how this decision came up to be taken, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like just not just being told what to do and just having to accept that like that's what I have to do, even if it's so stupid.
Exactly.
So I think for me that was like a huge wanting to be a freelancer was a pushback on that like I want to make my own decisions, I want to work with who I want, and also I just want to have my days how I want them. Like now, for example, if in the middle of the day I'm stuck with work and I feel like doing exercise, then I'll just go for a run. And in a regular job, I couldn't do that. So I love having that freedom to kind of build my day how I wanted. So yeah, so that's why I got into freelancing. Wow. And how about you? Do you have similar problems with authority like me?
You know what? If we make another episode about why we started with freelancing, probably we can dig some more reasons when I think about it now.
Yeah.
I think every time when someone asks me, I have that like elevator pitch answer, like already formulated. I went into freelancing because of this and that. But when you mention more things, I realize that we have so much more deeper and like rooted reasons why we're doing what we're doing as freelancers. And when you said about the authority, oh my God, I'm like, that's me. That's me.
Yeah.
Like my mom used to call me when I was little a goat because I was so stubborn and I wouldn't do anything without knowing why I'm doing it, without a reason behind it. And she also told me, like, you are too honest. You will not survive in this world if you're too honest. You have to have a mask. You have to pretend. You have to be certain, presenting yourself in a certain way to succeed and stuff like that. And I never stood behind this and I never understood why until I got into the business world and working for a company. And I got also that same conflict of interest and the same conflict between understanding and viewing how the things work in business and in real life. And I was like, I think my biggest motivation was that working from 8 until 4 here in Croatia was not the thing I wanted, and it was not resonating with my dream that you said, working in an office, having a suit. And in my mind, I also would say that was a dream, like a stock images of people collaborating, open spaces, and people asking you for your input, those American movies type of situations when everybody are working in harmony and everybody is valued and stuff like that. But in real world, it doesn't really work 100% of the time like that. And when there's like hierarchy and a big corporation or a small company, even there's some unwritten rules that just people follow. And as we discussed already, they just do the things that are supposed to be done without questioning their execution. And I think that lack of freedom and flexibility also gave me the motivation to look other way and risk everything and quit my job and just start freelancing and see if this actually maybe it is better for me than working 9 to 5 and trying to do stuff just because I'm told to. And authority for sure is one of the things I don't handle very well. And I have talked about this in all my social media posts, that I am about collaboration and working together, win-win situations. I'm not trying to scam you, and you better not try to scam me, because it will not work. It's not possible. And I think that's being like the subordinate and being a boss doesn't suit my style, I don't know, and understanding about life in general. So
yeah. No, it's really interesting what your mom said about having to kind of like put on a mask in order to, I guess, move through life and job and whatever, because that in a way is true, that in a lot of situations we do have to kind of put on a mask depending on the people we talk to. And I think especially in like traditional style jobs, like you need to be respectful to your manager or your boss, for example, or like when the CEO walks in, you have to like pretend you're working, or like or the day when the CEO is coming in, everyone like dresses nice. It's like, why? I mean, I do understand why these things are all kind of necessary maybe, but it's also like, I think we can be professional and be more chilled, like I can do a good work for my clients while I'm here wearing like a tank top and like sitting with my cat. I'm still as productive.
We're in the core and base of it, we are still humans, and we all do it, and we all know we do it, because all social media posts are funny jokes about how people act at work. Like, it's so basic, and it's so like underlying equal. Like, we're basically the same person living different type of life. That's it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, it's really interesting. And I remember you went from working in an office in like quite a traditional company, right? And then you went full directly, like dove in the deep end into freelancing, just like quit and just like did it. What was your biggest like notice in how you felt when you're working freelance versus working in the office?
The biggest feeling that I had during or after the transition?
Sort of both.
So both. Well, it means I was not even scared, because I had saved up money, and I think relief. The biggest feeling that I had was relief, because I felt free, and I felt like I can do whatever I want to do now, like with my day, with my life. Like, almost delusional, I can do anything right now, but also a little bit kind of excited, but not scared, but just excited on the side, like, oh my god, now I can literally do whatever I want, and I can become a YouTuber, or I can travel the world and, I don't know, volunteer and earn my money that way, or I don't know,
Start a podcast.
I was just about to say that. Start a podcast and just talk about things that inspire me and make me happy, and be curious and learn more things that are not like specifically KPI and business IT solutions orientated about a program that nobody knows that exists,
Yeah.
It's just like, it was a relief. I remember my whole body relaxing. I had this like muscle cramps in all of my glute area from stress. Like, I didn't even realize my body was giving me signs that you should slow down and you should stop being in that environment where you don't feel okay, because this is not your place. And I ignored it for a year and 8 months, and I was like, okay, I cannot do this anymore. And after, when the cup overflowed, I was like, okay, that's it, that's the day, and there's no going back. And yeah, the feeling was relief.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to describe it. I also felt, I mean, I didn't jump straight away, but I slowly worked less on like a job and then more freelance and blah, blah, blah. But definitely I think relief is a good one, that like it's just less stress. Like I feel more open. Like I guess before I felt like I was in a box, like confined and like, you know, and now, yeah, exactly. Like if anyone's watching the video, you can see what we're doing with our hands.
Exactly.
But then it was just like this freedom after. And I love that you said like you also have the freedom to kind of learn and talk about things that you're passionate about. Last year, I started learning about copywriting. So I was doing like a lot of courses and classes and like also trying to learn on my own. And it was just the coolest thing to be like, this is part of my job. Okay, like no one has told me to do this, but I find it interesting. And I know that it's making me better at my job. And I can take the time out, like, oh, I'm not going to do much client work this month. I'm going to learn this thing because I find it interesting. And I just think that's the coolest thing ever. Like, oh, I just want to do this, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. The flexibility to decide on the spot and focus and like center your attention and divide it to that one thing that you really are passionate about. And you know that that thing will make you a better solopreneur or freelancer, and you help another people with this same skill that you actually are gaining at the moment. And it's just whenever someone asks me, do you like being a freelancer? What are you talking about? I love it. Like there's no other thing I could imagine right now at the moment doing. It's just like,
yeah, no, 100%. I think there's also with this freedom, it's for me, I do get a little bit scared sometimes because I'm like, I could do anything. So I think it's two things that like, because I could do anything and I want to do everything, I get very overwhelmed that I'm like, I don't have time to do all of these things that I want to do. And then there's the other thing that it's a bit scary that like, oh, I could do anything. Like, oh, what do I do? Like, which direction do I go? Or which is the correct direction?
Sometimes multiple choices are nice, but also overwhelming and confusing. I think that's a great topic for another episode. Should you niche down, or should you stay a generalist for your whole life, or should you dedicate like a certain amount of your time in life doing one job or doing multiple gigs like simultaneously? I think it depends what kind of person you are, first of all, and what works for you. But it's a great topic to talk about maybe in the next episode.
Make sure to tune in for that one, guys. Before we finish up, we're both going to give you two pieces of advice from our experience. Advice if you're starting out as a freelancer, and also advice to keep going if you're maybe struggling a bit as a freelancer. You know, sometimes it can be hard. So, Nicoletta, take it away.
Definitely. My first advice would be, before starting, do a research and do it like thoroughly, like on the market that you want to like cut into, and do some self-reflection. Take some time off if you can, if it's possible for you, to just realize who you are, what you want to do with your life, what actually makes you passionate, and what you desire to become. Like if you know what you want to do, you easily can imagine who you want to be in the future. So I think that's also very important part of becoming a successful solopreneur or freelancer, knowing what really makes you happy and interested and curious. And also leading to that, with choosing the market for you and what will make you like a profitable business owner as well, is to choose the right business model for you to start with, and then midway transition to, and what is the end goal in the future. Like, do you want to own multiple businesses? Do you have like many ideas that you want to make valuable, or do you want to just have one company that will be turned into agency or whatnot? And the second one would be for everybody that is work in progress, like us, to find a supportive system, being one person on the same path or a similar path with you, and to motivate each other and support each other in this journey. And just find a community where you will be understood and where you can find some advice, guidance, or just how to say common sense and understanding of your struggles and challenges, and in general your goals. I think that is really important, and I think I will focus more on that this year, because I really strive when I see people work and on themselves, on their business, and achieve things, because that also motivates me to keep my focus also on my goals. And I think that's very important, and you shouldn't forget about it.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with both of them. For
What
the
are
first one, yeah, like as you said, there are all different types of doing freelancing. I think it's really important to remember that, like, because you can do whatever you want, freelancing will look different for everyone. So as you said, it might be just working by yourself or like starting an agency. Anything is possible. Okay, so my advice for starting out is to put yourself out there. I think when I started, I was so like nervous and so scared of being judged that like I didn't have a social profile. I didn't even, my website was not really live. I would put it live like when I sent it to people, but on my website was not like pictures of myself or anything like that. I wanted to be like completely faceless. And somehow I thought that like many people would want to work with this random website with no faces or like names or anything. Not a good way to go. And this yeah, I think my piece of advice to keep going when you're feeling like a work in progress is to set goals, but then don't move the goalpost when you're in the middle of reaching that goal. This is something I did for a very long time. Like, let's say I was like, oh, I'm going to make this much money this month. When I got halfway there, then I would change the goalpost further. So I was in this constant state of like never achieving my goals because I kept changing my goals. So I think it's maybe there's a way you can work this where it works a bit better, but I just felt like I was never going anywhere because my standards for myself kept getting higher. So just be aware of where you are and being realistic of your journey.
Yeah. And start small with small achievable goals.
Yeah, 100%. And like, it's okay to have small goalposts at the beginning, you know, like, yeah, make it
totally
your
valid.
Thanks for listening today. And we hope whether you're starting out as a freelancer or in the middle of your journey, we hope you got some good advice and a bit of motivation out of listening to our journeys.
And if you're not subscribed to our podcast yet, please make sure you do now. This is your moment to do it. And thank you so much if you do subscribe to our podcast, because it really helps us go out there and reach more like-minded people. And yeah, see you in the next time.
See you next time.
Bye.